Today's class, we are going to be focusing on transition. Has anyone felt it? Like, even though we haven't had the snow, it hasn't moved from winter beginning to play with transition into spring. But this week, I have felt it. I have not only felt it temperature-wise, but our temperature's been weird all, winter. But anyone else felt it? Like, I went outside and I heard birds I had not heard.
Yeah, I noticed that today.
Exactly. Like, I'm like, oh, there's a new song that I'm hearing.
Look at the trees, there are buds on some of the trees.
Buds on some of the trees. Like, animals are starting to scurry. I went in a house that we checked and there was mouse stuff. So all these things are beginning to tell us. And here's crazy. Most of us live in such a way that we are disconnected from these cycles that have literally held us our entire life. Like, even from literally inception of who we were. Some might believe beyond. But these cycles, the ones like sun and moon, it moves the ocean, the waves, right? Big stuff happens. Like, the light creates chickens, something inside their brain, Agnes, to make more eggs. It's not even the temperature. It has to do with the cycling. As I was driving home and it was 6:30 and the sun had just gone down and there was still light, and I felt that in my body. So we, in human form in the Western world, tend now, unless you're a farmer or have some reason to really pay attention to what's going on in the larger scale, we don't. If it's dark outside and we need to do something in our home, what do? We turn lights on. If it's way past sunset and we still feel like we haven't finished our day, we flip our fluorescent lights on for as long as we think we need them, right? So there's something about easing the way that we live and move and breathe by paying attention to something that's way older. I know some of you didn't think that was a possibility, but it is, than you. And when we begin to connect with it, the ease happens inside our body. It's the resistance and the fighting. Like, I don't know if any of you guys are researchers, but if you haven't been sleeping and you go online and you research sleep, okay, the big thing that you're gonna read about is get off your phone an hour before, make sure that you dim your lights, don't eat a big meal. All these things that are being offered, and seriously, they're just based on the natural cycle, that circadian rhythm in our bodies, but we've ignored it, right? So as we are still in winter, but welcoming the birds, beginning to see the light a little longer, there is an invitation inside of us. So winter, this time of reflection, introspect, stillness, bundling up, cozying in front of the fire, right? That's the invitation. Warm, hearty food, stews, not so many fresh vegetables and fun fruits and things like that. More of the things that can last a little bit longer. And as we begin to feel, like, I started thinking yesterday about a garden. Literally, I just started thinking, how weird. I didn't think about it a week ago, but I thought about it yesterday. So if we pay attention, you guys might begin to think about, oh, there's a project that it actually grew inside of me over the winter, or an idea, or a vacation, or a something that happened. It could have been latent, just like the seed under the soil, right? And then now you might begin to be like, a garden? I don't know. Where would I put a garden? What would that look like? So today's class is that space, that liminal space. We're not in spring. We're quickly in Angel Fire heading out of winter. And how can we begin to cultivate the health in moving with the cycles? Okay? So as we begin class today, what I'm going to encourage you to do is, if you need to move forward in your chair so your feet can really touch the ground, that's the invitation to start. Then as your feet touch the ground, plug in your big toe, your pinky toe. So in that process, can you spread your toes apart? Just plug them deep into the ground. Then feel your heels sink into the ground. Now for some of you, I'm looking kind of at posture. I noticed that when you sat down in your chair today, that there was a pattern that your couch probably had given you. So we're going to adjust just a little bit, all right? So with your tailbone, okay, you can do this in adjustment in your chair. We're gonna take our tailbone behind us. So if you've already sat, easy way to fix it, drop your belly towards your thighs, then scoot your bottom behind you. Some of you might need to take some of your bottom and move it out of the way, whatever works for you. Then once you feel your tail moving towards the back and not tucked up underneath, okay? Then come. And you can feel the difference, the invitation already. So we've shifted the way that our hips are articulating. From here, from those sits bones and the top part of our thigh bones, can you find length through your torso? I gotta come even more. My legs are pretty short. Okay, so wiggle, so your feet are still in the ground. Now go back to that connection with your toes. Big toe, pinky toe, and your heel. Notice how when you press into the ground, it kicks on. And some of you might want to like sit down almost like you're pressing, but see if you're able to keep this long torso and press. And we're activating muscles in our feet, in our calves, in our thighs. Roll your shoulders back so that you're not holding this in your shoulders. And then roll your shoulders forward. And then place your hands right on your thighs gently, softly. Have you lost the connection to the ground? Because as we head into transition, keeping that connection vital. If we were to go stand outside and the wind's blowing us, keeping that connection. It also helps as those things begin to rise within us that have grown throughout, like the winter time, to be able to discern which one or two we need to do and to be a part of. So grounding in our feet. If you look down and your feet are super close together, walk them out so they're about the distance of your hips. Feel that in your body. All right, take your hand, place it on your belly. And I know you guys have done this throughout the week, of course. But as we breathe into our belly, notice if your chest wants to rise. Soften your chest. Like a balloon fills up, bring the breath down into your back, into your belly, into your sides. And then the chest can rise. So it's progressive. As you breathe in, back, belly, sides. Then the ribs, you can feel them moving. And then as you exhale, everything's gonna hug and suck in towards your center. So inhale, back, belly, ribs. Feel the whole body expand out. And as you exhale, now the next invitation, as you take your next breath in, taking it down past your chest, down into your body. Then when you exhale, can you get just a little taller from the back side of your body? Take about 3 or 4 more breaths, your own rhythm, just breathing deep into your back and belly, sides. And then when you're exhaling, notice if your feet have stayed connected. Reset if they haven't. Maybe eyes closed if they're open, maybe eyes open if they're closed. Feeling that deep core connect on your exhale. And all together on this last breath, inhale, back, belly, sides. Notice if your shoulders creep up near your ears. Then as you exhale, hugging, corseting, sucking back into that core. Notice your feet. And let that out. Big mouth open. Shake, wiggle. Maybe hug yourself a little. All right, grab the chair. And you tap out, tap in. Heels, toes up. There you go, and bring it back. All right, we're gonna stand. So when we stand, remember the grounding of our feet, hip distance apart. Really important, it gives us a wide base. Then when we go to stand, most of us when we go to stand up, we use the chair, we press, right? Totally fine. If that tends to be where you go, grab your block and let's use our inner core connect. Squeezing that block. Check with the ground beneath you. Do your feet have full connection? You might even need to move towards the edge of your chair. Okay. I'm just kind of looking around the room. All right. With this core connect, squeeze there. Okay. Big breath into your belly. Then hinging forward, you can use the chair or the fronts of your thighs, press into your feet, rise as the core connects and you get taller, taller. There you go. And then we're gonna take our tail behind us, feel for the chair if you need to, and sit back down. Okay, 5 times. Sit. If you want to add some layers, rise on your exhale. Okay, that's the first. Rise on your exhale. So that means that you're hugging, corseting, pulling into your core on your exhalation, right? And that's the power. You're going to have the ground connect as you, remember how we practiced getting a little taller on our exhale? That's going to be the connection that allows you to rise. Then, the second, when you go to rise, squeeze in to access more of your core, all right? And advanced if you want. When you sit back down, imagine your chair is made of ice, about that thick. So you're going to sit down with slow, gentle integrity. All right? Now, for some of you, that's in a couple of weeks. For others, practice. Okay? So on your own, squeezing, big breath. Rising on your exhale. Long spine, long spine. Nice. And you can move the block around. So like if you bring it up a little bit, sometimes it's easier. You just don't want it behind you because then it's hard to sit in the chair. And then you'll bring your hips back. Did anyone find it hard to not plop? Super hard to not plop, right? My encouragement to you is squeeze into that core more. Squeeze into the legs more. Rise on the exhale. Check in with your jaws. Is it clenched? Are your shoulders at your ears? See if you can do 3 more. If any of you guys were to do anything, I would encourage you to bring, can you see how far my feet are out? Lots of you guys have your feet tucked and your knees are not at a 90. And so that's fine as you progress out, but just be aware of where your feet are, because it's going to work your muscles differently. As Agnes pops up.
No,
Squeeze.
I'm gonna push people on my knee.
All right. Well, all in standing. So feeling into your big toe, pinky toe. Take your hands right here on your lower ribs. Find your hip points. Okay? Notice if your ribs are in front of your hip points, if they're behind your hip points, or if they're aligned with your hip points. Does that make sense? So some of you might have to go forwards, backwards, feel so that you can find that place. What you're going to find is habits, and we're transitioning. Transition sometimes feels weird when you're finding the new spaces. Okay.
Why is this important?
So when we want to grab our core strength, right, to stand, if I take part of my body outside of my center of gravity, what is the other part of my body having to always do? Grip. It's having to go like this, because I'm here. Or here. Do you see? Parts of my body too are clenching as well. So if we find that happy medium, and it's weird because when you find it, you still have a little curve in your lower back. That's the way the body was created. It's to give us a little bit of cush, right? So once you have found it, kind of wiggle into it, feel it. What are your feet doing? Have they lost the ground? See if you can find the ground. Big toe, pinky toe. And then find still. Notice if your shoulders are coming forward. If they are, invite them to roll back. And then your shoulder blades kind of sit down on your back a little. Okay? Invitation for 3 of those big breaths that you just did sitting. So as you breathe in, belly back, everything expands. And as you exhale, soften through here. Inhale. Soften. Keep your neck really long and free. Jaws free. Last big breath in. Check in with your feet. Can you stay in your ground? And let that go. All right, move behind your chair. Grab a hold of the back of your chair. Feel the ground. So look down at your feet. Check to see if your feet have walked themselves back in towards each other. And open them up so they're underneath your hips. There you go. Can you feel why you would want that? Versus here? Yeah. So keep the feet wider and then find your toe base, your heel base, and connecting here. Now from here, as you take your breath in and expand, then press into the chair and rise up onto your toes. Now notice if your toes and your feet splay out and you go heavy on your pinky toe side. If that is the case, plug in your big toe. And what you're gonna see is some turning in of your upper thighs, and you're gonna get access to this, which is what you want, okay? So go up and down. Now find your breath. And if it feels better for you to inhale and rise, great, just expand. When you exhale, hug and suck in. So I'm looking at your feet. I'm noticing some of you guys still really spilling hard out to your pinky toes. If that's the case, you can hijack yourself, put the block up, high, squeeze, and then rise. And lower down. Rise and lower down. Okay, I'm gonna encourage everyone to take your block. I see a lot of cheers. So grab, squeeze. Now lift. So heavy on the big toe side. Anyone feel a difference? Slowly lower down. Rise. Maybe 3 or 4 more times. Now, for those of you who want to try to play with the hands, either just super soft, behind your head, that's kind of my favorite, or stay here. When you get to the top, pause. Feel the backside of your body. Okay? Can you feel the calf? Can you feel the hamstrings? Slowly, almost annoyingly lower back down. So 3 times. Rise, hold for a couple of breaths. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Feel the backside kick on. Whew. If you're cramping, drink more water before you come next week. And slowly, annoyingly, lower back down. 2 more times on your own. As you rise, hold. Your chair is always there. Then you lower on your exhale. Last time. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And lower down. Great. Take your block out. Okay, watch. Has anyone watched a horse walk up and down a hill? Okay, they go like that. Okay, so we're gonna move that way in our body. So you're lifting one hip up, lifting the other hip up. Some of you guys might feel some cramping in the back if you do that. Press into your chair. If you need to walk your feet out from your chair and you kind of get a little angle in your body, that's okay. The horse does. It's like this. So however you need to move. So you're lifting, holding, lifting, holding. Couple more times, find your breath. And pause. Okay, from here, we're gonna bounce a little bit. So as we move up on your toes, gotcha? See if you can feel it in your cheeks, in your chest, okay? Notice if you're bouncing on the pinky toe side, grab that center, bounce on your big toe. I know this sounds so silly, but imagine if you had congestion in your chest and you were going, you're gonna break it up, okay? We're also moving our lymphatic system, which right now with the allergy season coming, heading out of winter, so important, okay? Now see, can you let one of your arms go? Can it bounce with you? Can you maybe let that boat go? I don't know. Switch arms if you can't, it's no big deal. And then lower your heels down and pause. Now, find your connection. Take your hands over your heart. Feel. Anybody feel anything? This is a great movement break. If you've been sitting in a chair for longer than an hour and you want to get up, you can even just walk behind the chair. And we move our circulation. We get oxygen to our brain. We start healing the things that we don't even need to be healed inside of our body. Okay? So find your feet. Heel toe them out. Wider. Wider. You can have your chair right here. Wider. Okay? Now press into the chair and take your bottom behind you like you're gonna sit back. Can y'all see that? Like you're gonna sit down. Then look at your knees. And when you go to sit down, notice if your knee turns in. You want to encourage it to follow the direction of your toes. Okay? Some of you, I'm going to encourage you to walk your feet wider. For those of you who have a wider stance, wider, you can begin to rock side to side. So one knee bends, goes over your toe. Other knee bends, goes over your toe. Some of you might feel like you can connect here, come off the chair, and rock side to side. Okay, now we're gonna go up and down. Up. Hold on to the chair, press into the chair to get your core. Exactly, Suzanne, that was where I was going. Some of you might want to take your hands behind you. Now watch, this is perfect here. This is perfect here. Whatever works in your body. Now, if you squat, imagine you're sliding down a wall. It's gonna change your squat. You're not gonna go as deep. You're gonna just slide your bottom, slide the back of your head down the wall. Slide. Press now into that wall. Press, 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 press. It's gonna change the squat for you. Press, 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 press. All right, pause. Whew. Wiggle. Wiggle. And then find still. Invitation. Come up onto your toes one side. Bend. Drop your heel. Press into the ground, find your whole foot. Other side, toes. Feel. Is your other foot connected? Can it hold you that direction as you're on your toes on the other foot? Can you feel that? And then drop your heel. So now, ground into the foot that was on the toe, lift the toes to the other. Feel this pulling, almost like it's pulling you apart. This is finding ground. Dropping. Up. And dropping down. Invitation. Both. Ding, 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 ding. Anyone feel it? Wiggle. Stay on your toes if you can. Drop down. Press up. Heel toe in. Now we're gonna bounce. Bounce, 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 bounce. Maybe you let go. If you do, plug that big toe in. For some of you to play, it might feel good to have this. You'll notice it just gets you into your core, the stream part of our body that holds us. Can you get your cheeks to wiggle? Y'all will thank me later. All right, pause. You have the block, take it out. Find your feet underneath your hips. Big breath in. Big breath out. 2 more times. Down into your belly and back. When you breathe out, can you get just a little taller from the backside? Take a step in towards your chair so you can hold it. Walk to the side. Find your feet. It doesn't matter which side. You just want to be able to have some space in front of you. Okay? So, shift your weight towards the chair and the foot closest to the chair. Then you'll shift your weight to the leg that's furthest from the chair. And then go back and forth. Grounding in the foot, feeling that ground all the way up. Shift, grounding in the foot, feel that ground all the way up. You got it? Back and forth. Really noticing, where's my big toe? Where's my pinky toe? Where's my heel? Am I grounded here? Then, as we shift our weight first to the leg furthest from the chair, core connect, lift the leg that's closest, roll the ankle, roll it the other direction. Ground down so you can lift the top of your head closer to the ceiling. You're going to feel stability all on that grounded side. Can you feel it all the way up into your body? And then point and flex, point, flex. Maybe you soften your, just ground and lift. Drop it down. Wiggle it out. Okay, shift, shift, shift. Feel it. Feel the ground. You're swaying. You know, like a mama does when she's holding that baby and she doesn't really move her feet. She just shifts her hips. And even if the baby's not in her arms, you notice the mama. She's still shifting her hips. Okay, when you get to the leg closest to your chair, pause. Feel your whole foot, from your foot all the way up to the top of your head. Then Once you're there, lighten, lift. And then you can begin to circle. Trust this process. A lot of you guys, I can sense, are pretty nervous here. Trust that line, and this core connect can hold you, okay? So you can play with your chair. Look at you, Marguerite. All right, go the other direction if you have it. Point, flex, point, flex. Some of you might let go, some of you might just play with the chair. Find your breath. So funny, I can feel when y'all don't breathe. And then drop it down. Okay.
That's almost all the time.
Breathe, mama, breathe. All right. As we shift, here's the invitation. Shift, lift, and then reach and touch. Okay. Down, shift, lift. If you need to grab the chair, grab it. Reach and touch. So now we're kind of going back and forth. Find this, connect. Find your whole foot. Don't go fast. For me, it's easier to lift and touch on my exhale because I can core connect. See how that feels? Inhale, exhale. For some of you, you're going to use the chair the whole time. You might even scoot this way, turn this way, whatever works for you. We're going to do it about 3 more times. Drop down, lift. You might want to pause and see how that feels. Whoa. Whoa. And down. All right. Shake your arms. Shake your legs. We're going to come in front of our chair and sit back down. So remember when you sit, tailbone back. You might put your block. Back, 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 back. On our sits bones, long sides. Find your feet on the ground. If you normally use your block, put your block in. You'll know. Margarita, do you have one?
I know, you can get it. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Squeeze into your block. We're going to do a little upper body stuff. Reach up and down. Can you slide your shoulder blades and then slide them down? Anybody having a hard time finding it? If you are, check to see where your rib cage is. Is it in front or lined up with your hip points? The next time you find your arms bent, pause. Drop and up and drop and up. Notice, take your eyes, look to one side. Do I drop down? What do I do in this process? So keep the arms at 90, come down as far as, some of you, there's no like goal. You're just squeezing your block between your legs and you're opening up through your shoulders. Do 2 more times. Then open your arms out really wide. Feel your chest, shoulders, elbows, all the way to your fingers. I trust that you guys can.
Yeah, we're done hanging.
Perfect. Bounce, palms up, bounce. Now open them as far as you can. So pinkies are aiming towards the ceiling. Squeeze your legs, easy to lose. Find your feet. Then the other direction. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, if you want, try this. See what that feels like. Open, bend, open, bend. You got this, Mama. Come on. Oh, you did it! And whew. Bring your arms down. Hands on your thighs. Take a good breath. If you want your block, keep it. If you'd like to take your block out and just really begin to settle, please feel free to do that as well. Take your shoulders and like you're doing the back stroke, go backwards. And then as if you're doing freestyle forwards. Grinding down to the ground with your feet. Take opposite hand to opposite knee. Okay? Then the hand that's down, grab the back of your chair. And then with your rib cage, take a full breath so you feel the ribs expand. And as you exhale, turn towards your back hand. And then you can even turn your neck further. Big exhale, come back to center. Hands back on your thighs, press your feet into the ground. The other opposite hand that was on, and then take it back. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale with the rib cage, turn to the side, all the way. Exactly. Like an owl. Feeling into your breath. Take a breath here, down into your belly. And as you exhale, with your ribs, can you move just a little bit more? Shoulders away from your ears. And then slowly unwind. Take your hands behind your head. Press your head into your hands and your hands into your head. Notice your feet. Can you connect them? So you're long through your spine. Then incrementally drop your chin. Elbows can come towards the center. Maybe you go down and roll a lot or just a little bit. Press into the soles of your feet as you rise up. Stay connected to the ground. Elbows extend out. 2 more times on your own. Drop the chin. Round down. Some of you, it might be just this far, and that's perfect. Keep that connection between the head and the hands. Others, you might be able to find the tops of your thighs. Grinding into your feet, feeling the ground underneath you. Open up. Last time. Then open your arms all the way up. Circle them back. Circle them forward. Some of you might do this and it feels better for you. You decide. And then go opposites. Big breath. Open your mouth. Breathe out. If your legs are short, go ahead and wiggle back so that you're sitting with your back against the back of the chair, but you might need the block underneath your feet. If it feels comfortable for your hands to be down, just dangling by your side, we're going to close class today with a breath practice. Okay? It is a practice that takes the right side and the left side of our bodies and brings connection in our center. Okay? So when we breathe in, you are going to imagine that you are breathing the air up through the fingertips of your left hand, up all the way to the top of your head. Inhale. As you exhale, the air will leave through the right side. Does that make sense? Now don't get too excited, because once it left through the right side, once it's out, then you will breathe again, but it will come through the right side up to the top of your head. And then as you exhale, through the left. Does this make sense? So whichever the air leaves, then you breathe on that side, and you're gonna just keep going back and forth. And we'll do this for a little over a minute, okay? If you keep your eyes open during this breath practice, I encourage you to find something to gaze softly on so the eyes don't dart all around and the body can really integrate some of the things that we've done today, okay? Otherwise, if it feels comfortable to you, I'm gonna encourage you to just close your eyes. Feel your feet on your block or the ground. And you can do the exact same thing with your hands on your thighs if that feels more comfortable. I encourage you to turn your palms up. So whichever feels accessible and available to you. So we'll all begin together. As you inhale through the fingertips, imagine that air is just moving up through your left arm, shoulder, neck, top of head. As you exhale, down the right side of your body, out through your fingertips. Inhale now, right side. Exhale, left side. Invite the imagination to really feel the breath as it moves up the arm to the top of the head. Begin to notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw, in your eyes, in your tongue, in your chest. Let your legs go so you don't have to hold them. And then bringing your attention back to the breath as it moves up one side, down the other. Taking 2 more cycles. Then gently begin shaking the arms a little bit. Let your eyes slowly open. Bringing your left palm over your heart and right palm on top. May we acknowledge the cycles that really bring us health. May we notice and feel what that does inside of our body as we hear bird songs that we haven't heard for a season. As we see the sun linger longer, may we begin to notice what has happened and germinated in us over the winter. And get excited. Thank you guys for coming, for playing. Before you leave, I'm going to encourage you to take a moment and think of something that resonated with you today. A movement, an idea, a pose, a way that you would like to take home with you, that you would like to invite it into your heart, into your mind, and into your body, and begin to let it be part of your rhythm, part of your cycle. All right, if you have any thoughts or questions.
I need harder to do this one more time.